Hi, another film I saw recently was My Science Project, Jonathan Betuel's 1985, a science fiction comedy. It follows a high school kid, played by John Stockwell, who is fascinated by cars, loves everything to do with them to the exclusion of everything else, but is told by his science teacher, played by Dennis Hopper, that he has to find a project to complete his assignment and thus avoid failing his final year. Teaming up with a rather nerdy young girl who worships him and writes for the uh, school newspaper and is hoping to get a date in order to boost her credibility. They wind up breaking into a salvage yard where they find in a hidden basement a piece of alien technology that had been salvaged from a crashed UFO decades earlier. The kid decides to present this as his own work, but it starts to go haywire, provoking all kinds of crazy nonsense and provoking the rest of the movie. Um, the, the film was released only a month after Back to the Future, and it does feel like a second-rate rip-off, even though it's unlikely that there was any real cross-pollination. Fisher Stevens, who I think only a year later would star in Short Circuit here, plays a high school student, and as in that film, is playing someone of a different ethnicity, his character being a very broad stereotype of a New York Italian. It's not a terrible film, but the plot is very weak and jumbled, and the gizmo develops new technologies and abilities as it goes on, with the various characters having to guess at what is supposed to be happening. There's a climax at the high school where various figures from the past and various time machine like um, functions become apparent, and the whole thing feels just very perfunctory and not terribly interesting. John Stockwell is not a great, engaging leading man. He previously starred in John Carpenter's Christine as the no nonsense best friend, but he really struggles as a leading player here. Dennis Hopper generally underplays his role as the high school teacher who's clearly a leftover 60s dropout, and even towards the end gets to appear in his original Easy Rider costume. As I say, it's not a bad film by any means, but if you're looking for a sort of mid 80s Spielberg like sci fi adventure that isn't Back to the Future, there are at least four or five others that you would visit before you try this one.